Up next, they took part in suicide attacks but survived. Hear from the director of a new documentary that sheds light on what drives some Muslims to death. That story when MSNBC Sunday continues. Right now, we're going to hear from a would-be terrorist in his own words. Take a listen to this.
When I put on the belt, I was not afraid. I was excited. I thought I was the most powerful person on earth. I really did want to be a martyr.
My next guest wanted to know why many young women volunteer to become suicide bombers. Pierre Rehov is the director of a fascinating documentary. It's opening in limited release later on this month, and it is called Suicide Killers. Welcome to you, Pierre. Thank you.
My pleasure.
In your movie, you talk with a number of suicide bombers as well as their families. What did they reveal to you?
Well, I've been very surprised, first of all, by the level of hatred they have toward the West. But the most intriguing thing is that I thought it was all political and all about gaining territories. I discovered it was, number one, everything was absolutely religious and nothing else but religious. And number two, it was very much connected to sexual frustration.
Really? And is this part of the suicide bomber personality profile? I mean, who are these suicide bombers?
Well, most of the men I met were between 18 years old and 25 years old. The older ones are the ones who actually organize the suicide bombings. And the ones I met in jail who had been arrested by Israeli police, or the ones I met actually in the territories, have all basically the same profile. They hate everything which is on earth. They hate life. They only dream of the afterlife. They are the result of their very high-level brainwashing, and they hide their frustration under a political speech.
What about the women? We were looking at a woman right now. Same kind of profile?
Yeah. Well, the women, it's really interesting because that's a question I've been wondering until I actually met 4 women in an Israeli jail close to Netanya. And it's something a little bit different. First of all, it is actually connected to this overall frustration in the Muslim world. But as far as the women is concerned, it's more a question of feminism. Believe it or not, these women think if they can do it, we also can do it. So they start having these conversations on some Arab televisions about whether or not should we let our women outside, since now they are actually committing suicide bombings. Also, in some cases, it's a result of trying to escape from the crime of honor. They have betrayed the family, they have done something which was not accepted by Muslim law. They know they're going to be slaughtered. For that reason, they'd rather do something which is considered as heroic in the world and blow themselves up and kill innocent people.
And this, what you cite as being a lot of the reasons for these people going into suicide bombing, at least on the men's perspective, that they hate everything to do with the world and they're sexually frustrated. Is that any kind of a study that has been done, or is it really your personal observations?
I've been working on that personally for 2 years. There's been a few scholars around the world who came to the same conclusion. When you put an entire civilization in a situation of, first of all, having a miserable life on earth, in a lot of Muslim countries, most of the people have very, very bad life, and it's for some dictators, it's an organized misery. And the only thing they feed their people with is religion. It's like the Christianity in the Middle Ages, and they were very well willing to conquest and kill and go at war rather to having a normal life as we see it nowadays in the Occidental world. Everything connected to fun, pleasure is something that they cannot accept. I mean, these kids who have been brainwashed and who come from a very, very high level of frustration because of their family and the culture surrounding.
So, Pierre, if these are people that really don't give much reason for living, do you get a sense of being able to turn that around? Do any of them at all express regrets about becoming potential suicide bombers?
I met actually one who at the last second refused to doing it because he saw women and children, and he said, this is not Islam. This is not what I read in the Quran. I don't want to kill women and children. But every other one was actually more than happy to have tried to do it, regret not to have succeeded, and also their families, in some cases, would have had the pride of seeing their children becoming what they call shaheed. But you have to understand, not only do they live a very frustrating life, but also the Quran and their culture promises them all delights on the afterlife that they cannot have on this planet.
Yeah.
So basically, you die for your God, and you get the 72 virgins, and the 70 members of your family are going to be able to be forgiven for their sins. It's beautiful. You snap your fingers, and the next minute you're in heaven.
Well, okay. Pierre Rehov, thank you very much for your insights. Director of Suicide Killers. Good luck with it.